missing black women and girls, the rapes, it's so many atrocities now. And of course, it's happening to all of our people, but when it comes to our women and girls, that gets so little attention or exposure. There's a litany of various issues that we have to now deal with, given the fact particularly that the young sisters that we now have in our communities and our families that are 13, 14 years old, well, in another 10 years or so, that's going to be somebody's mommy.
Yeah.
So that means it behooves us to work with these young girls, and we have a master plan for our young girls in particular, knowing that this is the future all across the board. These young girls now are going to be somebody's mother in the future. So if we don't begin to address some of these issues now, then we'll look at another generation going through some things. So on one hand, again, we're going to deal with the issues of our women and girls, not just in the U.S. now, but worldwide. And then on the other hand, we will focus on some of the so-called social justice issues that is relevant to our people, our families, and our communities. And with the We Charge Genocide, we have 21 areas of crimes against humanity, i.e. genocide. And for some who are not familiar with that terminology, it's high time that you are. There are other things other than civil rights. There's something called human rights, which really is a higher level of not only law, but definitely of your existence, you see. And so we now know that our people have been violated for 400 plus years. We now know that reparations is now more than a conversation, and we must proceed in that manner for our ancestors, for ourselves, and for the next generation. So the We Charge Genocide has 21 areas that we're citing. And I'll just give you a few of them. And then you can connect with Brother Adrian and get more in-depth information and prepare for us to come to your community so that we can hold workshops and other sessions to get our people ready to know more about genocide and the remedies that we're demanding. So, for example, if you're a black veteran, 9 times out of 10, you were severely discriminated against. And if not you, somebody that you know. Because in the military, the so-called armed forces, historically speaking, from the Civil War up till now, our men and women, but primarily our men, have been the treatment of our men, and particularly in earlier years, but even still today, it's just unbelievable to fight for a country and then to have them discard you, treat you like a dog, and all kinds of things. I know personally, my brother was a Vietnam veteran, airborne 101st, fought diligently, came home, couldn't get a job, ended up on drugs, and I saw a lot of our men go through that during that time period.
So he didn't get the GI Bill.
When you start doing your research, you find that same thing happened in World War I, World War II. Couldn't go to the same restrooms, couldn't go to the same restaurants. Couldn't even be in the same barracks on some of the locations. These things happen to our men, and now in later years to our women. And so we want to make sure that the We Charge Genocide campaign focuses on the inequity of our black veterans. They deserve better. Some of them are homeless throughout the country, mental illness. They, the fight to get their due pensions or what have you. They have medical issues. Sometimes they have to fight for that. And so, again, we say it's a form of genocide. Another form of genocide, for those who are familiar with the 13th Amendment, did you know that slavery is really still legal? Look at the 13th Amendment. You are free, according to civil law, except if you are convicted of a felony. If you are convicted of a felony, as you read the 13th Amendment, it will clearly tell you that slavery can be enforced. And sometimes it is, because we have people working in these prisons introduced the form of enslavement. The other thing that we talk about is COINTELPRO as a form of genocide. We know that the FBI files show very clearly that during the 1960s through, who knows, perhaps present day, but definitely the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, clearly the FBI files show without a doubt that Dr. King, for example, any so-called black leader was targeted. Here in Philadelphia, it's Mumia Abu-Jamal. They have a record on him since he was 13 years of age because he was in the Black Panther Party. As he grew older, he became an exceptional journalist. He was voted one of the 10 most up-and-coming people in Philadelphia. But he made an error, at least they would consider it as such, because he started writing about a group called MOVE. He started reporting about them, telling their story. Ultimately, Mumia ends up in a situation where he is charged with supposedly killing a police officer. All of the evidence shows that he did not, could not, but yet he's been incarcerated now for 40 years.
And was on 30 years, and 30 of those years was on death row.
Targeted at the age of 13 by the FBI, as others. And so, you know, these are just some of the areas of genocide. Miseducation, medical apartheid, meaning the medical treatment that most black folks get is not the same medical treatment that other folks get. And we've been experimented on like no other group of people over the, at least 7 decades. You know, medical apartheid. We've had the syphilis, of course, with Tuskegee. Here in Pennsylvania, they use prisoners to test out a skin kind of something that ended up giving them cancer. And we know that these things happen also in hospitals. Elaine Riddoch, she's the survivor of eugenics. In the 1950s, there were many states, particularly in the South, by the way, where it was legal to, to sterilize black women in particular. And so Elaine Riddoch, who is still alive, she had the one child after she was raped. She had a child, and her grandmother, she was in the care of her grandmother, and the doctors told her grandmother that they wanted her grandmother to sign something for medical care because they needed medical assistance, and the grandmother was not really able to read very well, and so she put her X on the piece of paper, not knowing that she was giving the so-called officials permission to sterilize her 13-year-old granddaughter who had been raped. Elaine Riddoch did not know she was sterilized until she got married and tried to have children. And then, of course, after going to the doctors, was told that she couldn't have children because they had done the procedure where she could not have children. These situations happen quite frequently, particularly in the South. She was living in North Carolina at that time. So again, there are different forms of genocide that we know is happening, has happened to our people, and will continue to happen to our people unless we do something, say something, and really become more independent. We have no schools. We need our own health facilities. We need our own everything, really. And so reparations is a must. We call it reparatory justice. And so we're planning to come to your city to give you information and also to build. We need our own, not only community, but our own nation. We deserve that. After 400 plus years, we deserve it. For those who are inclined to want that, for us to get justice and real freedom, because you know emancipation under Lincoln didn't really free you. You have to know that. And the type of enslavement that we're now under, well, look at what's going on all over the country with the murders in our communities. So finally, the bottom line is we hope you will support two things now. One, the Million Woman World March, which will take place next year. We're coming to organize. You can also join us with Zoom calls, but we also want you to support the We Charge Genocide 21. Our people deserve reparations. We now have a sister, Dr. Harrell, who is a bona fide genealogist. She will help any of us to know our roots, our true roots, to trace your ancestry from here in the U.S. as far back as possible. We need that kind of information to strengthen our communities and our families. We need to know our history, our roots, good, bad, or indifferent. Other people are able to do that. They can track down, or they can tell you about generations. We unfortunately can only tell you about, really basic, 100 years, if that. And we deserve more. We deserve better. So my number, or shall I say my email address, is nationalmwm@aol.com, nationalmwm@aol.com. And for the We Charge Genocide, we also have a component for it called the National Black Human Rights Project, and that email address is nbhrproject@gmail.com. Again, nbhrproject@gmail.com. We hope that you will donate to either one of those campaigns for our sisters. We are now having a membership drive. We want 1 million black women, and that's one of our groups. 1 million black women rising. Can y'all imagine what 1 million black women could do? I can assure you quite a bit, because we already know how to make $1 out of 15 cents. So you can imagine what we could do with 1 million members. Our own businesses, our own schools, our own institutions. There's no stopping us now. So we hope that our women will support this campaign, and brothers too. You can get a membership for your wife, your daughter, your granny. The membership is from $1 to $25. $1 representing being 1 in a million, up to $25 because this is our 25-year anniversary. We've never had a grant. We've never had corporate sponsoring, because we are about it being independent and making sure that we show people we can do for ourselves. So we hope that you all will support. You can Cash App your $1 or however much to Cash App $HOT1111. Again, $HOT1111. We want to see what states are going to be the top states that bring in the membership, so that by the end of March, we'll be analyzing and looking at, March is Women's History Month. So we're going to look to see which of our states, the top 10 states, that bring in the most members.
All right. And Empress.
Thank you, Brother Adrian.
And also, New Day comes on Blog Talk every Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Well, yeah, you're right. I forget we're in different time zones. Yes, you're right. 9:30 your time. And we've been on for 13 years. And so you can hear any of our programs at any time you'd like. We're at www.blogtalkradio.com/Empress Chi. Sisters, if any of you are artists, either performing artists or visual artists, we have groups now just for you. We're ready to start publishing our own women's books, magazines, etc. Also educational items for the children. We're working on our own educational items for our children. And again, for those who are performing artists, we're creating a whole new Black arts and culture movement. We call them also the artivists, for those who want to be a part of being able to connect with other Black women worldwide that are artists. Our plan is to begin to go on tour once we put the cadres together, the collectives together, to go on tour, taking our message and information, the positive kinds of art. We're not promoting any kind of nonsense.
Yeah.
We're not promoting anything that talks about booty shaking or
stuff that Jewish executives get paid off
We
of.
want some serious, quality kinds of music, poetry, drama, and so forth. That's who we are. And we have to now show the world. A lot of what they're seeing today, that's not really us. That's some other stuff. We got to step up and represent. And we have to do that so that we're no longer disrespected in the way that we are. We've got folks just outright disrespecting us. We can't allow that any longer. So we've got to stand up now and create our own label, create our own music, and make sure that the world can hear it. Black women, y'all can do that. We can do that. And with our brothers' support and help, it's a win-win situation all across the board. So black brothers, black men, don't think we're not depending on you as well. This right here, the Million Woman March, is for our sisters, but we never separate from our brothers. We do have a brotherhood component for those who are interested. Brother Adrian has been with us for a few years now. So we have some black men who are not afraid of some serious black women. And they know that we're not trying to outdo them or beat them or anything like that. It's not that. We have a rightful place in the world. It's just as simple as that, because we're the mother of civilization. We don't care who likes it or don't like it. Get over it, because we're coming. We have to. This thing has to change, and you cannot change the world doing the same thing. Therefore, we're raising up the mother of civilization.
All right.
Mother of it all. But right now, we talk about taking care of our children. We done took care of everybody else's children long enough. And other people, period. Well, now it's our turn. Our people come first. In fact, I just came from a project called, one of our programs is called the First Family First Day.
All
We're
right.
the first family. And so, again, we make it very clear. There are times I talk about our women and girls for a reason, because like in medicine, you have specialty areas. You have your throat doctor, your ear doctor, your just different types of medicine. Well, in the movement,
Empress,
of us reaching a level of social justice that we must have, there are areas that we specifically have to focus on. My area of expertise is our women and girls.
All right, and Empress.
So, and one daughter. So I'm not, trying to say one is better than the other or anything else. It's just that that's the God-given mission for me in terms of the movement, and it's our women and girls. I support what our brothers do. Those that know me know that. So, I get tired of people trying to make it sound like when I start talking about the women, Brother Adrian said, oh, that's just a woman stuff. Y'all just talking about, no, Negro, don't do that with me. I'm not having it. We are black women. I'm not a feminist. So get real clear about this.
And we're gonna deal, Empress.
And so we are moving forward in that way.
Yeah, Empress, look, we're gonna have to go because we have some other people, I believe, trying to get in. But I will be talking to you very, very soon to try to be very supportive of the We Charge Genocide 21 program. The so-called Jews, they received reparations for the Holocaust. And the Holocaust didn't happen in America. The Holocaust happened in Germany. And the Holocaust lasted about 10 years, as I spoke about that earlier. So if so-called Jews could get together and receive a minimum of $10 billion that goes from the United States to Israel, then why can't black people in America, or foundational black Americans, as Tariq Nassim, who wants to start the new media, and coined that phrase, the foundational black Americans, why can't we as black people in America, who are descendants from slavery, the worst treatment in human history, legalized lynching, segregation, and all the things that Empress C just eloquently named, why can't we demand reparations? And reparations is not just a check. Reparations also contain ownership of land, ownership of farming equipment, ownership of institutions, as well as opening up the files to the assassinations of Dr. King, Medgar Evers, Malcolm X, Bob Marley, getting Mumia Abu Jamal, as many others that according to DNA testing are innocent, that according to witnesses, corroborated reports and corrupted police reports say that a lot of these black men that are on death row are innocent according to DNA testing. We need to fight for all that. We need to fight for our people from the bottom to the top back to the bottom. And we have to do those things. And we, in our community, black men in particular, but black people in general, we got to circulate economics. We got to circulate information. We have to build networks in media, in education, in health, and all those things that we so desperately need. Those are not wants, those are needs. So we need to look at teaching each other financial literacy. Older black people, teach some of the younger people some of your stories, even though some of them ended up in tragedy. Still, a lot of people like to say that slavery was a long time ago. Let me make this point. Slavery was a long time ago, according to some people. There are senior citizens who are alive right now whose grandparents were slaves. So slavery was not a long time ago. Some people who are alive right now remember that in their grandparents' lifetime. Some of the things that happened to Empress C's brother about the mental illness, because he couldn't obviously benefit from the GI Bill, which included medicine, which included home ownership, which included free education, tuition to any school you wanted to go to. A lot of those black soldiers, they didn't get that from the GI Bill. They didn't get that from the United States military. Right now, you have Brittany Griner, right now rotting away in a prison in the Ukraine. And Joe Biden hasn't done anything about it. The same United States government that will send the United States military to take other countries' resources, yet they won't send the United States military to grab one of their own citizens. And who's responsible for that? The elitists in the United States government. When we talk about this relationship between black people and the so-called Jews, why is it that we could talk about Bill Cosby and something he was accused of, but it was never proven? But you don't talk about Harvey Weinstein. You don't talk about Hugh Hefner, who built a business and a brand from the Playboy Mansion and the Playboy magazine, and he built businesses in Brandon off of childhood molestation. If you was a Playboy bunny or a private Playboy bunny with Hugh Hefner, after a certain age, and I think it was 25, you aged out. He made millions of dollars. He made a business and a brand based on childhood molestation. Yet we didn't talk about him. But you want to talk about Bill Cosby. You want to talk about R. Kelly. You want to talk about somebody black, because those in the Jewish community who control media, who control TV, who control radio, who control magazines, who control newspapers, maneuver black people into that. And this is why we need to be independent. The first thing, well, not the first thing, one of the things that we must do is we must help get all those civil rights organizations out of debt. Because the Urban League, the NAACP, and several other traditional civil rights organizations that have fought for black people's rights in the past need, on the national level, not to be in debt to the Anti-Defamation League or the Jewish Defamation League. And the only way we're going to do that is to be able to support each other through information, through economics, and circulating economics in our community. Get involved with the We Charge Genocide 21 project. Start supporting black businesses. Build your own forms of social media, which is a collection of emails. Create black business directories. Show documentaries where they're showcasing black people that are doing powerful things in our community. Showcase, use your cell phones, use your camcorders. Instead of recording fights, people getting drunk, people having car accidents, why don't you showcase with the technology, with the cell phones, with the camcorders, black people that are doing things in health? Black herbal doctors that are healing people through natural herbs and not pharmaceutical medicine. Black people that are educating young black boys. Black women that are showing young black women how to be seamstress. how to create their own business, how to do financial reports, how to put together sentences, how to write books, how to self-publish their own books. Those are the things we need to do so we can be independent from the United States government and these so-called Jews that have a tie and act like that the Democratic Party have this hold on the black community. Some of us in the black community, and I know we're talking about voting and registering to vote. Here's the thing that we need to focus on. One of the many things is to tie our economics to a political agenda. Because if we don't, we'll be continuing to vote our fears and not our interests. Asians, they vote their interests. Jews, they vote their interests. Chinese, they vote their interests. Black people, we vote our fears. And the only way we're going to be able to change that is to tie our economics to a political agenda and demand and say, these are the things we want. We don't need Joe Biden speaking for us. We don't need Kamala Harris speaking for us. We don't need Trump or Bush Jr. or Bush Sr. or the Clintons speaking for us. We need to establish what we want for ourselves. And what we want is a full and complete freedom. Men like Dr. Imar Obadeli, who lived in Baton Rouge and one time lived in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and several other places. Women like Sister Akila Ali. Brothers like Brother Darrell Muhammad. Brothers like Brother Oscar Muhammad. Brothers like Mumia Abu Jamal. Brothers like Dr. George C. Frazier. Brothers like Brother Becker, who are trying to show black people some ways of financial literacy. Those are things that we need to look at. Those are things we need to pursue. Again, the number that you see on the screen, if you want to call in and talk about the topic of the so-called Jews control the black leadership, I believe we have a caller. Caller, you're on the air with the community defender.
Yes, I want to say something about Joe Biden.
Yes.
Joe Biden went before Congress on several different occasions and asked for billions of dollars for the Ukraine. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, man, the United States got $300 billion for the Ukraine, but they can't give anything to the black community. I walk around town or around town, and I see so many homeless black men and homeless black women. These black men are sleeping on concrete streets. They're sleeping in abandoned buildings. They don't have the basic necessities that white people enjoy every day. They make laws. These white people, they make laws against these homeless men and women like blacks and for money. If you might be walking into you have 50 cents or you have 25 cents. They call it panhandling. They make these laws. You can't do that. So these people are suffering. Places that serve food. I mean, the food is I ate the food, and the food is just up in the air. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. But we have Joe Biden, $300 billion.
Yeah, and keep it and call. Let me ask you this: didn't black people vote for Joe Biden in droves?
That's it.
And didn't more black people vote for Joe Biden than Asians did? Yet Asians received a executive order for them in less than 60 days, and so far we haven't received nothing.
Zero. And then they come into pull the okey doke again in November.
Yeah.
Want black people to vote for them.
Well, look, and call. You raised some good points, but unfortunately, I have to grab another call. But I appreciate your call and your support, and you are 100 trillion% right in some of the things that you were speaking of. And that's why we got to stand together. Caller, you're on the air with the community defender.
Yes, good evening, Brother H.
Yes.
Look here, man. You are having a very dynamite show tonight. You are speaking the truth to power. And I appreciate everything that you say. You know, a lot of these Republicans right now is running on abortion and abortion clinics, but they forgot in the 60s where they put all these birth control pills out, controlling birth control, and a lot of these women lost their uterus behind birth control. We also got to look at this system, not just white supremacists, Klan justice. I call it Klan justice because it seems like the Klan is still running things. They're always accusing black men of doing things, and they make cases against them that is false. So, everything that you're saying tonight, you're speaking truth to power.
And Carla, and look, let me make this point before you go. A lot of people are not aware that when they rolled back Roe versus Wade, and a lot of women were upset, that wasn't about a woman's right to choose. That was because those white men on the Supreme Court know that in years in the future that they're going to be less population of white folks than they are. They're going to be more of a population of black people, not people of color, but black people than white people. That's why they rolled back that Roe versus Wade. That was about population control, not taking away people's freedom of choice. But I thank you for your call, and I thank you for your words of encouragement.
One more thing, my brother.
Yes, sir.
One more thing. If you go to Ohio, they got a whole community of Jewish people.
Yeah.
And no one black is allowed in there but Jewish people. So. And
that's going on right now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you. Caller, welcome. You're on there with the Community Defender.
It's such a powerful program, Brother Adrian. You definitely have to come back to do part 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I wanted to say this with Sister Empress. She made so much a powerful statement. And also, we still have like the father of medicine that Master Sims, Dr. Stuart Sims, who did surgery on black slave girls without giving them any type of sedative. We never received reparation, and reparation would be a generational wealth. You also spoke about the artists. Well, remember, Michael Jackson had on his own music catalog, and several other big artists like the Beatles and everything. And look what they put out about him. And as for Phyllis Hyman, she made the song "I Don't Like Living Alone," and she committed suicide. Allegedly committed suicide, but that was under Clyde Davis, who had dropped her for Whitney Houston.
And look,
Whitney died too under him.
Yeah, and Whitney died too under him, and he got paid for the catalog. But look, they're winding down at the time, so I'm gonna have to close the program out. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to stop you there because I gotta close the program out.
Oh no, you're not. No, you can't stop me. Not right now. And not only did Adidas, Gap, but also UMG and Def Jam, Vogue and J.P. Morgan, Chase, they all took out their pull out funding from Kanye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Now look, I want to thank Brother Darrell Muhammad once again, the Community Defender family, the African Open Channel for inviting me down, and we will be able to come back to deal with these issues. If you want to check out the Community Defender with Brother Adrian and updated commentaries and things I'm involved in, subscribe for free to www.emediagc.com. That's www.emediagc.com. Go there and subscribe for free, or call 225-571-2274, 225-571-2274. Email communitydefender@yahoo.hotmail.com. That's communitydefender@yahoo.hotmail.com. The Community Defender, we go to war.
30 seconds.
But we're still here for a couple of more seconds, and we're going to continue to update and hit these hard-hitting issues and organize in our community, because we in the black community, we have to stand up. We have to organize businesses. We have to be able to reach our people. We have to protect and respect black women and black children at all costs. The Community Defender, we go to war.
So